Okay, so we've been looking at the role of systems, and particularly the role of the Christian religion and the role of the Catholic Church in medieval Europe, and how the Church was able to use its power and authority to prevent the knowledge of the heliocentric model of the universe from spreading, and in doing so ensured that the geocentric model of the universe continued to be believed, and therefore this still proved the existence of God. But when systems and organizations are in control for such a long time, there will be people who disagree with it. There will be people who claim it has too much power, they have too much wealth, that they are corrupt, and therefore something comes along, events happen to shape the system, to change the balance in society. And that system, that period of time, is called the Reformation Period. And there are three main factors within the Reformation period that you need to be aware of. Number one, all the way from England, is King Henry VIII. Ta-da! Check out the artwork. And he wanted to divorce his wife. And the reason he wanted to divorce his wife is because she couldn't give him a son. And King Henry wanted nothing more than to have a son, because that would continue on the bloodline and would continue on his family name. So, because England was part of the Roman Catholic Church, he asked the Pope if he could get a divorce. The Pope said, "No, you can't." So King Henry wrote back asking for a papal dispensation. And a papal dispensation is basically a request from the Pope agreeing to King Henry divorcing his wife. The Pope said no. So this made King Henry very angry. And what you begin to see is the force A, the Roman Catholic Church, and force B, King Henry, colliding. And one way around that was for King Henry to say, right, fine, I'll create my own church. And I'm going to call it the Church of England. And that's what he did. And one of his first acts as the head of the Church of England was to divorce his first wife. And he married another 5 times, so 6 times in total. And the rhyme goes, divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. And this was the first crack in the cup of Christianity, in terms of there wasn't only one religion that proclaimed itself to be Christian, because you now had the Church of England and you also had the Roman Catholic Church. Then, all the way from Germany, the second major factor in the crack of the cup was people began to consider the fact that the church had become corrupt, that it was too wealthy and had too much power. So Martin Luther, who was a Catholic, wrote 95 Theses, and he stuck it to a door, and everybody saw. And he may have been part of 9Y or not, we don't know. Probably not. Anywho, this happened in Germany. And everybody saw this note, and a huge panic was created. The Roman Catholic Church were obviously very angry, and the people kind of agreed with some of the questions, because they felt that the church had moved away from where it should be. And one of the major issues that Martin Luther had with the Roman Catholic Church was that it had begun to sell indulgences. And indulgences were basically paid by the rich to the church to wash away their sins. And it basically meant that if you were rich, then you could just keep on committing sins and more sins and more sins, and every single time all you need to do is to pay for it, and you could still get into heaven. And the Roman Catholic Church obviously summoned Martin Luther and asked him what all these 95 Theses were about, and asked him to recant, which is to not exactly deny that he's written them, but to deny that they are important and to state that these questions don't need to be asked. And because the questions were going against the church's authority, and because Martin Luther refused to recant, then he was excommunicated from the Roman Catholic Church. So he set up his own church, the Lutheran Church. And a little bit of history, Adolf Hitler was also a Lutheran. And this was the second crack in the cup, if you will, for the Christian religion and the Roman Catholic Church. So you have Christianity, which is one religion. And within Christianity, you have the Roman Catholic Church, you have the Church of England, and you have the Lutheran Church. The third key factor in the crack of the Christian cup was the Gutenberg Press. Not really sure what it looks like, but just imagine. And the Gutenberg Press was created by Johannes Gutenberg, and it was a mass printing machine, which meant that there was no more handwritten books, knowledge could be spread quicker, faster, and it was used by Martin Luther to print the 95 Theses and spread them around Germany. So effectively Martin Luther is saying this: I have a printing press. So let's not get him confused with Martin Luther King Jr., who wrote about I have a dream. It's I have a printing press. And because traditionally the church had been the one that had controlled all of the knowledge, had written all of the books, then this meant that the Gutenberg Press enabled others to write, and the Bible was reprinted in different languages, and therefore the church was beginning to lose its control to some extent. And a little bit more of history. The Gutenberg printing press was actually a modification of a similar system used by the ancient Chinese, but they would use wooden printing blocks to mass produce their work that they needed to release to the public. And in certain sections of Penang, you can still see it being done. The Gutenberg press had the metal blocks instead, which meant, although obviously a bit heavier, it was more durable and could be transported and would last a lot longer than the wooden blocks. And those are the three major factors which caused the cup of Christianity to break. And these three factors happened during the Reformation period. And then what you have is the Catholics and the Protestants fighting. And even within the Protestants, you have different sections. Okay, so you have the Roman Catholics, you have the Protestants, you have the Huguenots in France, you have the Calvinists in Germany, and also the Lutheranism in Germany as well, obviously after Martin Luther King. And so that is how the Christian religion split in two. During the Reformation period, because of King Henry VIII wanting a divorce, because of the 95 Theses, which was advanced through the Gutenberg Press Machine.